All right. So I've been asked to talk about Tom Kuhn and boating in my experience. Um, well, being the firstborn, I'm going to take you back about 50 years. So the first thing I'll talk about is his dedication. So early on, we were living in upstate New York, and the weather maybe didn't always cooperate with our boating agenda. And it could be sleeting outside, it could be hailing, it just could be nasty. And Tom, my dad, would walk to the door and he'd look out and he'd say, I think it's clearing in the north. And sure enough, we'd all go boating. And at the time, we had a Highlander, which was a planing hull sailboat that could easily flip over. It had bench seats with hiking straps on it. And to speak to dedication, he was not daunted by the fact that my younger brother Glenn at that point was still in a car seat. So what he decided to do was he strapped the car seat to one of the benches. So Glenn essentially grew up at about a 30-degree angle. Unless we were planing, then it was all even keel. So yeah, there's the dedication. He can talk to you about how he put a separate window in his parents' garage so he could bring his mast in when he was about 15 years old so he could varnish it. But that's a whole different story. The second thing I want to talk about is one thing that sailing with my dad taught me was a lot of colorful language. I would say, suffice it to say that no rated R movie was going to surprise me after going for a sail with dad. There was often some good colorful expletives. And the third thing that really strikes me is his love. Once we got here to the Northwest, his love of the Northwest. He was at one point offered a job back in Michigan in Detroit and just kind of quit his whole career because I think partly because he just loved sailing in the Northwest so much. One or two takeaways from Northwest Sailing for me was one, we were up in Desolation Sound, and he asked, he had bought a man overboard pole. You know, he wanted to be totally prepared. And so he said, at some point, we're going to have to do a man overboard drill. And so we're sailing or motoring along and no wind and Desolation Sound, and 2,500 feet of water. And so I got the stupid idea to just grab a flotation cushion and just jump overboard and yell, "Man overboard!" And I'm not sure if he didn't notice or if he was just kind of calculating the risk, but it took him a long time to turn around. Um, the last thing I want to talk about is that there must be something to this experience with sailing because all three of his sons, me and my two brothers, are all currently sailors. So thank you, Dad. You really inspired us. And I wish this were more of a roast because there are some funny stories.